Before we start building apps in Flutter, there is one concept you absolutely need to understand: the Flutter project lifecycle. Most developers skip this, but trust me, once you understand how a Flutter app starts, loads, builds, renders, rebuilds, and eventually gets removed from the memory, your coding style will completely change. So let's break it down in the simplest way. Imagine you are opening a restaurant. Every day you repeat the same cycle. You unlock the shop, turn on the lights, prepare the ingredients, and start serving customer, and update the menu if needed, clean up, and then finally shut everything down. That's a full life cycle. A Flutter app works exactly the same way. It goes through a set of steps from the moment the app icon is tapped till the moment the app disappears from memory. And here's the funny part. People build Flutter apps for years without knowing what actually happened behind that small splash screen. So let's fix this. When you tap on the app icon, the very first thing that runs is your main function. Think of main function like the key that opens the restaurant door in the morning. Nothing happens in Flutter until main function wakes up the system. Now inside main function, we usually write run app function. This is where Flutter takes your widget tree, basically your blueprint of the UI, and start building the foundation. It's like calling your team and saying, okay everyone, let's set up everything up. Okay, and here comes a crucial interview point. Whenever run app function is called, Flutter destroys the old widget tree and builds a completely new one from scratch. This is why we never call run app again inside the app, only once during initialization. After run app function, Flutter creates the root widget, usually something like material app or Cupertino app. Think of this root widget as the skeleton of your restaurant, the mainframe on top of which everything else is placed. Now, the lifecycle and very important stage. Flutter builds your widget tree, then creates the element tree, and then construct the render tree. So let me explain this in the restaurant analogy. Widgets are your menu cards. They describe what should appear. Elements are your waiters. They keep track of which table ordered what. And render objects are your chefs. They actually prepare the dishes. Plus these three layers to put visuals on the screen. Once everything is ready, Flutter paints the first frame. This is like the moment your restaurant finally opens its door to customers. From this point onward, the lifecycle becomes event-based. UI changes happen when you press a button, a variable change its value, a network call completes, or the state update. Every time a change occurs, Flutter triggers a rebuild, but rebuild doesn't mean everything restart. It's like if one table in your restaurant changes their order, you don't rebuild the whole building, you only update that table. This is where Flutter's efficiency shines. It only rebuilds the widget that need to be updated, nothing else. Now let's move to the stateful widget lifecycle, the part that every beginner gets confused about. When you create a stateful widget, Flutter first creates the widget, that the blueprint, and then it creates the state object. The state object is like your permanent storage room inside the restaurant. It stays alive even if customers walk in and out or menu item changes. Inside that state object, there is a very important method init state. This runs exactly once when the widget is created, not before, not after, exactly once. Think of init state like unlocking your restaurant and turning on all the devices before customer arrive. You do it only once per day. This is where you write code for API calls, animation, controllers, listener, basically things that should run only one time. After init state, Flutter calls the build method. This is your main cooking stage, the place where you prepare the UI. Build can run many times. If a customer says, sorry, I want extra cheese, you don't rebuild the restaurant, you just rebuild that one dish. That's build in Flutter. It is cheap, fast, and gets triggered whenever UI needs refreshing. Now here comes another important interview note. If your build method is heavy or contains expensive operation, you are doing it wrong. Build should be pure light and only responsible for returning widgets. When you update any variable inside the state class and you call setState, Flutter marks that widget dirty and rebuilds only that part of the UI. This is like telling the chef, only table 3 needs a change, don't disturb the whole restaurant. It is removed from the screen, like when navigating away, Flutter calls dispose. This is where you close database connections, remove listeners, stop animations, and clean up resources. Dispose is like the final step when a restaurant is closing. Turn off the gas, clean the counters, lock the doors. If you don't clean up and dispose, your app might leak memory, freeze animations, or even degrade performance. That is why dispose is extremely important. So now let's recap the full life cycle. The user taps the app, main function runs, run app starts the Flutter engine, root widget is created, widget, element, and render trees are built. The first frame is rendered, stateful widgets load their init state, UI loads, user interaction cause rebuilds, state updates continue, and eventually the widget is removed and dispose cleans everything up. This is your Flutter project lifecycle. Once you understand this, building apps become less about guessing and more about engineering. You start writing cleaner code, predictable state logic, and scalable architecture. And this is exactly how industry-level Flutter developers think. If this made the Flutter lifecycle crystal clear for you, drop a comment saying lifecycle unlocked, hit like and subscribe because we are going deeper in the next video.